And now I'm going to move on to the next award. We have two new categories this year that the survey is adding to its award list. Due to our expansion, one of the things we wanted to do is recognize people who have really made significant contributions to joining together science and exploration. And we thought it very fitting to name this one the Michael J. Wargo Award. On August 4th, 2013, we lost a dear friend and colleague, Mike Wargo. We had just finished the panel reviews that resulted in the selection of the current teams that we have for survey. It had been a long, hard week. And I remember that as I hugged him goodbye, which turned out to be for the last time, he said he was tired. That was understandable because he had given his all, just like he always did. He strongly believed in the union of science and exploration, and it is in large part because of his steadfast dedication to that goal that we are here today. Michael was a leading contributor to NASA's Human Lunar and Planetary Exploration Program. As a scientific member of many lunar missions, including the Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter and the L-Cross satellite, Mike helped map resources for a human mission to the moon and participated in the discovery of ice in the shadow of a lunar crater. In a nearly two-decade career at NASA, he received numerous awards, including NASA's Exceptional Service Medal and 7 Group Achievement Awards. He was a member of the team planning for the next robotic mission to Mars in 2020 and worked gathering crucial scientific information needed to allow humans to be sent safely to the Moon, Mars, and near-Earth asteroids. Much of his work has helped develop a roadmap for human and robotic space exploration for the next 2 decades. Dr. Wargo graduated from MIT and his undergraduate degree in Earth and Planetary Sciences and received a doctorate in materials science in 1982. At MIT, he was recognized with the John Wolfe Award for Excellence in Teaching and the Hugh Hampton Young Memorial Fund Prize for exhibiting leadership and creativity while maintaining exceptionally broad and interdisciplinary interests. He began his career at NASA by turning a fledgling microgravity research program into a world-class program. NASA drew on Dr. Wargo's ability to explain complex scientific findings in straightforward terms. He was often a spokesperson at agency press conferences, and he never missed this forum. Michael supported the NASA Lunar Science Institute and survey with his presence as well as his advocacy. This year, we introduce a new honor, the Michael J. Wargo Award, for a scientist or engineer who has significantly contributed to the integration of exploration and planetary science throughout their career. We present posthumously the first award to Michael for being the best example of someone who bridged exploration and science goals so effectively. Could we please have a round of applause for Michael J. Wargo? We are sad beyond words that his booming laughter no longer fills this room. We are fortunate indeed, though, to have with us here today his dear wife, Adele Morissette, to accept the award on his behalf. Adele is going to say a few words about Mike, letting us know more about the wonderful man she married. But first, I would like to introduce Adele to you and urge you to learn more about her when you have a chance over coffee or lunch sometime today. Adele Morissette is a managing director in the investment banking group of BMO Capital Markets. This is part of the Bank of Montreal. It's based in New York. She covers companies in the technology-enabled marketing and media industries based in the U.S. and Canada. Adele and Michael married, well, they met in 1999 and they were married in 2007. She graduated with a BA in Economics and History with honors from Wellesley College, and with an MBA in Finance and Entrepreneurship from the Amos Tuck School of Business at Dartmouth College. While at Wellesley, she took some classes at MIT and had many friends at MIT fraternities, although not Michael's fraternity. Being 5 years apart, Adele and Michael's paths did not cross there, but those memories became shared experiences later on, once they did meet. Adele grew up in New Hampshire, and she currently lives in New York City and Sag Harbor, where she and Michael were married. Adele, Mike spoke so highly and so often of you that I feel as if we met long ago. We thank you for being with us today, and we thank you for sharing a little of your knowledge of Mike with us. It is my honor to present to you, on his behalf, the first Michael J. Wargo Award for Outstanding Contributions to Exploration and Science.
Oh, I can't multitask here. Okay. Okay. Thanks. Thanks, Yvonne, and to all of you who have been Michael's colleagues. I need a minute to collect myself because even though it's been almost a year, it seems like it was last week. But it's very exciting to be here, and I really appreciate the opportunity to understand more of how Michael spent his time. And I know it was also very important to him to support the young minds coming up behind him in researching and forwarding NASA's mission. So I'm going to talk just a little bit about maybe the parts of Michael that you didn't know. As some of you might know, Michael grew up in a close family with 4 brothers, and they all went to MIT. I myself grew up in a family of 3 sisters, and we all went to women's colleges. And probably what many of you don't know is the reason that Michael stayed at MIT and got his PhD is because when he was at MIT, he put himself through school selling stereo equipment at Tech Hi-Fi. And he managed to sell a very high-end sound system to the head of the material science department at MIT, who convinced him that he should go on in his studies and not stay selling stereo equipment, even though he did very well at it. And so he went on and got that PhD. One of the things that I always appreciated about Michael was his diplomatic and sales skills. And one of the ways that he learned them when he was younger is he was a waiter and a bouncer at a club in Kenmore Square called Katie's. He had the afternoon shift one summer, and he realized he wasn't making any tips because people didn't think of it as a happy hour place. They thought of it as a later evening place. So he put on a sandwich board and his straw, 1920s hat or 1910s hat and his red striped shirt and walked around Kenmore Square as a barker to get people to come into Katie's so he could make his tips on beer. And I think that experience probably helped him later on in life as he came to NASA and started having to argue for budget. I think we worked so well as a couple because we were really yin and yang. My world in finance operates with response times of minutes, and Michael's time frame is years and months. And one example of this is he would spend 2 hours repairing a small hole in a screen door with a patch, and you'd have to be meticulous and get every item in there, and I would have just bought a new door. But Michael loved our weekend home in Sag Harbor. He would often wake at 5 or 5:30 in the morning and spend the first part of his day going out and photographing the sunrise. Of course, he had to have his coffee first, And that was another thing about Michael and his perfectionism about machines and about things, was his search for the perfect coffee maker. I think we ended up with 7 different Nespresso and Keurig machines until he found the Mocha Master. And these were not purchases made lightly. He researched all of them, but of course it's a different thing to read reviews and another thing to actually operate the coffee machine. Michael developed a big fan club of friends in New York. Everybody that we knew wanted to know more about NASA and the Mars rover and the Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter. And Michael obliged with great stories. He was so proud to work here at NASA and to talk about his work. He also charmed every preteen and teenage and college age son and daughter of our friends. He was the Pied Piper of science and the person that everybody wanted to sit next to at Thanksgiving dinner. Last July, shortly before he died, we visited the Air and Space Museum in Herndon with my nephew who brought his 2 teenage sons. When we got to the part of the museum where the shuttle was kept, Michael held court because he had actually worn a NASA shirt that day to the museum. People started coming up and asking him questions about the shuttle, thinking he was an official member at the museum. He didn't disabuse them of that and just kept on and on. In his heart, Michael was a teacher, and as Yvonne had mentioned, won many awards at MIT. But he loved to share his scientific knowledge and to get other people excited about this science. Frequently on holiday weekends in Sag Harbor, Michael ended up in a house full of my girlfriends. We had organized big dinner parties, and Michael was in charge of grilling the burgers and doggies outside. On one July 4th weekend, one of my friends, Christine, was there. She's a volunteer docent at the Whitney Museum, and that year, the Buckminster Fuller retrospective was about to open. And not being a scientist, she was quite concerned that she wouldn't be able to understand what Bucky Fuller was all about, and specifically the jitterbug transformation. So Michael went into town to the local 5 and Dime and bought several packages of pipe cleaners and repaired to the study for the entire afternoon. And at cocktail time, he came out, and he emerged with a perfectly constructed tetrahedron so that he could explain and demonstrate the jitterbug transformation for Christine. Michael was, in essence, a guy's guy with a heart as big as his booming voice. He was a gift in my life, and a gift to the world. He was so proud to be part of this community, and what you all continue to accomplish that truly makes a difference in the world. Thank you very much for inviting me here today to share this.